Самое главное, уничтожайте ментов в своей голове. Всегда, если вам кто-то что-то приказывает, подумайте, действительно ли это так или не действительно. Убейте мента в голове, обдумывайте, больше рефлексируйте, критически относитесь к происходящему. В загашниках нашей страны пора, брать дело в свои руки, избавить свой город от серой чумы, от серой чумы, от серой чумы. Оу, полетели бутылки, оу, упал автомат, товарищ майор, усатая книга отправляется прямо в если будет толкать микрофон, я не смогу петь. Помятая форма, хрустит голова. Эсиби, смерть не там однажда. The fun for me it's action. Is to do something. To do something by yourself.
Старший лейтенант Петренко. Была только что остановлена демонстрация экстремистов.
Para mí también todo esto es parte de esa música que es el punk. Es luchar por esto, es intentar siempre buscar alternativas y criticar las cosas que te parecen mal proponiendo. Significa una de las pocas cosas en las cuales puedes descargar tanto tu rabia como decir lo que piensas.
Punk is my family, and I love the people who are involved. I love the spirit and the hope, which I think is really a big part of the punk scene.
You could say, don't call it punk, call it a movement of people doing something different. And therefore, all these people who are different are individuals, individually deciding what they wanted to do differently.
Punk is DIY. It feels like anyone could play in a punk band. And it's not such a difference between, oh, there's a band, here's the fans. It's like more like everyone doing everything together in a like community.
How do you explain it, DIY? It's just kind of obvious. Touring and networks and meeting friends and building places, making places happen. Making things happen.
To do things without waiting, without asking for permission, and just make your own free space and make it the way you want it.
question of independence. When you're doing your own stuff, you're just recording your music, you printing your own like magazines, your own records or the records of your friends who have the same views as you, then you are totally independent.
The DIY culture gives me the opportunity to do the things I want to do in a way I want to do and to attack things on the outside. I guess the distribution is kind of like an expression of myself, being against the state and being against the status quo and looking for kind of complete change, personal change as well as global political change, then yeah, that's kind of fits in with what we'll do. Do the stuff with as little worry about the commerce as possible. So we try to get things as cheap as possible and we try to pass them on as cheap as possible. And this is so fucking DIY, I love this. These are the great Hetful van Schacco Amsterdam info shop. I shipped the active stall to them and then picked it up from them, and then I cycled the active stall across Amsterdam on a bicycle, which I've never done before.
We are not contributing to the circle of capitalism because we are not interested in the capital or the money. The whole thing about spending all your time getting the money to spend your money on something you don't need is quite stupid.
If you say do it yourself, you actually really are meaning doing it ourselves or doing it for each other. And if you think doing it for each other, then actually that's a far more forceful idea than doing it yourself.
Because our gigs were always fundraisers. You know, it would go to a project. We say, yeah, you know, find the hall, we'll set it up on the next tour, we'll make a thing, you know, and then the money goes to that project, which was great.
The idea is that there's not a fixed price to come in, but that everybody helps in some way with the event.
We contribute with our concerts and with our music, and when we play a show, we like to break the barriers between the band and the audience.
Music is something to listen to dance to enjoy, but sometimes, well, a lot of times, especially punk music, has a message. And yeah, we use the band to bring that message across.
Teil von Kultur und Kultur ist auf jeden Fall politisch, wenn man das will und manchmal auch, wenn man es nicht will. Und ob das Punk heißt oder ob das Hardcore heißt oder ob das Rap heißt oder Hip-Hop im Allgemeinen.
Egal, was ich in meinem Leben so vorhab, in jedem Fall kämpfe ich für Sprache und Wortschatz. Diese meine Sprache ist Ausdruck des Denkens, für Glaubensbekenntnis, Vertrauen und Verständnis. Und brauchen sie ständig wie Augen und Hände, es sich nicht begrenzen durch Mauern und Wände.
Aus Songtexten können Sätze entstehen, die als Leitsätze irgendwie auch Generationen prägen können.
I think it's important, it's like a duty for me to say important things when I have the opportunity to be on stage, and that people listen to our music and what we talk about, and we get a lot of appreciation for our lyrics. And because that we are political, I have to take the chance to communicate that. It's not enough to be on stage and sing about it like, hey, I'm a rock star and I have good lyrics, so please listen, and then you go out and do the work. We do the work together, and I'm here on stage, but I'm also an activist.
You play music, you play concerts for these people, and then after a while you also realize that this scene is connected worldwide.
I quite enjoy that, to be part of a family, if you like, a gang, a bunch of people going somewhere together with a purpose. Being at home, doing a lot of work on my own, doesn't give me much purpose. We've always played in little bands that have toured around and never had any like aspirations of beyond of being rock stars or anything. We just simply do what we do.
Let it be. I'm Ringo.
We got a little more politicised as when we were like leaving school time, going kind of college time, and like Crass were around then, and we're going around. We were going to see Crass whenever we could go and see them. And
Punk was political in the beginning, but Crass made it obviously political.
What has become the punk movement has grown almost exclusively out of what we did to it. Before that, there was rock and roll.
Crass came along and kind of like gave us punk rock of a pretty angry nature. I mean, that stuff at the time now seems quite slow and quite melodic compared with a lot of the kind of crust hardcore stuff which is produced nowadays. But at the time, that was really, you know, really kind of like, you know.
When Steve and myself started, you know, sort of making punkish music, you know, I was very aware of that avant-garde tradition of forcing people to stand back, you know, so to find a true way in, rather than simply giving a commodity.
Crass when they came along. It helped develop other people's ideas. I don't think Crass meant it as a, you know, a totalitarian state where they're going to tell you you've got to do this and you've got to do that. They were giving people the ideas and hoping that you could work them out for yourself.
You couldn't really not notice what they're about, and there was something important going on. That fed to a lot of people. A lot of people kind of like reacted to that and thought, wow, you know, this is something serious. The Crass gigs were, you know, organised by people who were activists, who were like, you know, the non-violent direct action people who were going around and smashing up nuclear bunkers or protesting at the bases and stuff. And the people who came to the gigs were a whole mixture of, you know, people who were intellectually quite interested in where the hell these, you know, popular anarchists had come from.
Crass and what they represent are attacked politically from all sides. The right see them simply as criminals out to destroy the existing structures of society. The left see them as hopeless utopians, deviationists, nearer to a bunch of bandits. As for the authorities, they don't like anarchists in general because they're unpredictable. You can never tell how they're going to react to a given political situation.
So it was a process that we were trying to engage the audience in a process, and our performances were even more so, where you'd have, say, maybe 3 big screens and different things happening, and you couldn't see the band. We never lit ourselves.
I'd never really seen anything like it before. There was poetry over like weird noises, and then there was a band, and then there was a bit more like a film and everything, and a multimedia thing, and the whole television's firing up, and, you know, just like a total barrage.
You are the ultimate pornography with your cunt fear, cock fear, man fear, woman fear, unfair, warfare, 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 warfare.
Everybody put everything they had into it, really did. They put their heart and soul into that, especially on stage. I was never on stage, thank God. I operated from the front, you know, the lights, the sound, everything like that, you know, the tapes and things, and the films going on.
It was a deliberate idea, which has its traditions in the avant-garde, of sort of demanding as much creative thought from the audience as from the artist.
Because it was pretty heavy, those gigs, really heavy. Visually, sound, everything. We were always available after. It was very important for the band to stop and then be in the hall for people to ask questions and share something.
I mean, that was the important thing about Crass, is it felt like they were genuine. It felt like they were real. It felt like you could actually believe they meant what they said.
They were very influential, yes, and in the words and in the music, and going to see them live and seeing it all come together, and drinking tea with them, and having a sandwich, and sleeping in the train station, and having the leaflets to read in the train station when you were spending the night there. And
they came in with the anti-nuclear movement, which was growing and was big. They came in with kind of post-feminism, first wave of feminism. They came in with a rise in vegetarian awareness, and they obviously helped those movements dramatically.
What we were saying was wide, although there was an attack on the Falklands and that, but it was about oppression, it was about war. And it's no different to the next oppression, just a different subject, but it's still the same old shit. You know, and we said what we had to say and we stopped, and I think it's still relevant now, what we said. Creative output can undermine. It can change people's vision, it can change the way people view life. Trying to get to those boxes. I started a long time ago. I can't say exactly what my work does, especially the work I do now. Some of it is overtly political, some of it's not. It's confrontational. think now, 25 years later, I'm very confident that people did and still do get inspired by Crass to take a life that's nothing like mine, nothing like Crass, but it inspires them to stand up and say no.
The scheme is really simple. If you play good music and people like it, then people start to listen to your message. They start to read your lyrics, to check your views, and if they like your music, if you do really quality and good stuff, then you have a good chance that these people will share your point of views, or at least they will be educated.
Once played a show, we played 2 songs, and then we had a discussion or argument with the crowd for an hour, and then played a couple of more songs. And that, for me personally, was one of the greatest shows we ever played. I really believe in communication. So you talk to these people, and they agree or disagree, but that's not important, just the fact that you make people think about stuff.
How many of you believe that you live in a free country? Raise your hands. Oh, that much. Well, I totally agree with you. Because do not consider yourself free. In the end, we're all just reduced to fucking wage slaves.
It's very fast and loud, so it's really hard for a lot of people to access our sort of music. But then again, we play the music we like.
The lyrics inspiring the noise that we make. And
if it wouldn't be for lyrics, we would not play.
Reason to start a band, to get an outlet for our political ideas. And maybe we just don't want to grow up as well like that. As long as the things don't change, then I think you should keep addressing the issues that you cared about like 20 years ago. And in some way we're really stubborn about it as well. But a lot of people turn their back to the whole political scene and the punk scene, and when you meet them on the street again, they say, well, still playing in that punk band? When are you going to grow up and things like that? But I say, yeah, okay, but are you not angry about all the shit that's still happening around you?
So you ever think about what life is about? Basically, for most of us, we have to work ourselves to death. Till we're 65 or 67 and fucking die. That's what it is.
I think we all 3 come from working class families. You've seen your father work all his fucking life, and you see him go in pension and die pretty quickly after that, enjoying the last few years as a free man. But before that, and then to a certain extent you come in that same mechanism as well. And we have all houses, but you get certain responsibility. You have to pay the bills, you have to pay the rent, and those kind of mechanisms make it for that you have less and less freedom. A lot of the creativity I had in me is now going most of the time to just work to survive. Why should it be that way, that everybody has end turn out to be a fucking wage slave and nothing more than that. Where you could be much more creative, and it seems like the system don't give you much room to be that way.
Todo el mundo queremos expresarnos de una forma un poco, no sé, un poquito más elevada, ¿no? No sé, que necesito alguna forma para sentirme vivo. Lo que pasa que hay una serie de cabrones que parece que no les gusta. No sé, pues no sé si al final se limita un poco a esto, a exigir tu derecho y simplemente a vivir.
Para mí la música significa intentar construirte una especie de mundo diferente al que te imponen vivir en esta sociedad.
And that's what maybe is so important about do-it-yourself. You be creative and it can be fun and it gives you kind of a freedom as well. Basically do-it-yourself is another word for anarchism as well, I think, or communism if you want. Because that's the equivalent of people taking control of their own lives in a much more political way probably than we do now. Because now we give most of the things away to politicians, to our managers, to our bosses, to our preachers, to our, all the people who are in power right now. So, but if people would take their own responsibility of their neighborhoods, of the factories or shit like that, that would be a do-it-yourself attitude. And I think, yeah, that would be in that way a lot more better than the system that we have now.
Sometimes I think society is pretty fucked. I think we're kind of on a pretty hopeless descent, but I've come to realise in the last few years, within that hopelessness is a real inspiration to try and do things. You have like one person who says, this is the status quo, these are the ideas that we should follow, and everyone kind of goes along with, which is what we do now. But there are so many of us who don't agree with it, and there are things that we want to change. Maybe music can't change people's opinions, but it can be like a soundtrack.
Jag hatar det här samhället och jag ska kämpa tills jag dör. Jag hatar det här samhället.
Punk rock is about saving lives. It's about going against this. About I will not behave because I don't agree, and it's not me that is the problem. It's part of the oppression that if you are forced to keep everything inside yourself, and you're forced to just behave and be a good student, be a good worker, be a good mother or father. It ruins people's life to always have to fit in a special role.
It's like this, you have the space to do this.
so important, such a big part of my life. I have so many feelings and I need to express them. I need to show that I have feelings, that I'm a person, that I think all the time.
If you are used to listening to music where the verse is 4 times and then 4 times chorus and then 2 times the bridge and then it's over, maybe it's complicated with our stuff. But it depends how you see it, and if you want to express something which is chaotic, it's not the right thing if you make 4, 4, 4. It doesn't go together with your message, you know.
We like to put out a lot of intensity and energy and different specters of emotions. Like for us, it's a lot of aggression, but it's also aggression in a positive way, to get in contact with that feeling inside of you.